Call the December meeting to order. We'll salute the flag, please. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. Started this evening with the approval of our prior town board meeting minutes. First we have, which one? Public hearing and, okay. Any other comments?
No.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Bob wants to watch a game too. Okay, Mary, you're on. Let's start with the town clerk report, please.
You have it. Okay. I'll move this along. So town clerk's report for November. For community house lease, $1,000. Zoning board of appeals, $75. Dog licensing, $35.50. Building permits and certificates of occupancy, $460. Town clerk fees for decals, hunting and fishing, $4.74. Community house donations, $150. St. Luke's Church, $100. Total check for the general fund, $1,825.24. For trust and agency for inspection fees from the building inspector, $200. Total check for trust and agency, $200. Paid to New York State Department of Ag and Markets for dog surcharges, $13. Paid to New York State Department of Environmental Conservation for licenses, $81.26. So the total for the month, $2,119.50.
Motion to accept the clerk's report.
So moved. Second.
All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Thank you, Mary. What do we have for mail review?
Mail review from GTEL Teleconnections, just informing us that due to the cost of inflation, the changes in regulatory structure within which they must operate, they are increasing the local service rate for both residential and business access lines by $2 per month, and this would be effective January 1st, 2013. And I have handed out to the board members and will give to the judges also a copy. 2013 training school and annual meeting, excuse me, from February 17th to the 20th in New York. This is sponsored by the Association of Towns. And it has the registration form and all the information that they might need for that. And we were given this tonight, a Superstorm Sandy Disaster Relief Hoedown is going to be held to benefit those in downstate. It's going to be held at the Rhinecliff Hotel on Saturday, December 8th from 6 to 11 p.m. The American Red Cross is helping to put this on. Little Creek will perform, WRWD's Tommy Lee Walker, a special guest mechanic, the Irish Brothers Band, and Bob and the Boys. And $10 cover charge goes to the Red Cross. And then they're having a live and silent auction and barbecue special at the Rhinecliff Hotel.
Nice.
That's all.
Great. Thank you. Not so much mail, but something I'd just like to update. I don't know if anybody else has heard, but recently there's been a lot of break-in in vehicles around the area. My road especially was hit Saturday night, Friday night. It's happened in Elizaville now. I understand it happened in Germantown last week, and now it's obviously worked its way down to Clermont. But the individuals are going down complete roads, streets, going in every single car they can if it's not locked, taking mostly change or money that they can find. I had tools and stuff in my vehicle. They didn't touch my tools, but change was taken, and any money that obviously left around. So just so people realize this is going on in the area, make sure you keep your obviously doors locked, the valuables out of your vehicles. So I think somebody lost a computer out of one. But obviously, if you keep stuff in your vehicles, make sure it's locked and secured. But I didn't want to bring that up. There's been several reports filed to the police departments about this, but no one's been caught yet. But I just want to bring that to the attention of everybody that this is happening in the area, so definitely make sure you keep your vehicles locked.
There's also been a few houses that have been hit.
Has there been houses as
Yeah.
well? I didn't
The
hear about
same-
the houses.
The same MO, you know, looking for stuff that's out and easily available.
Yeah. So unfortunately, until these individuals are caught, you know, make sure everybody keeps everything locked and secured, valuable secured.
Have we gotten any information from the county health department concerning the whooping cough that's going around? Nobody contacted? I understand it's on the rise, it's pretty lethal for little infants. It's going on, so...
I'm on the actual health committee in the county. It has been a rise in cases. Not panicking or putting out a widespread alert or alarm, but something to keep an eye on. Obviously, if your infant or somebody comes down with the whooping cough or a cough, get them checked out because it has been on a rise. So it's they said it's one of the worst years they've seen for that, along with you know, pneumonia cases for some reason, which my son had last month. He was in the hospital with. So it is nothing to fool around with. Obviously, if you come down with it, you're ill, especially make sure you get it checked out. Absolutely. Yeah. Okay. Correspondence for the web committee. Does anybody have anything, any comments, suggestions, questions, updates, anything you want to talk about?
Yeah, and go for the web committee
Yeah.
website.
Sure.
I was wondering why it's taking so long for the video to come up on the website.
So the way we had been doing it before was waiting for the previous month's minutes to come out and then updating the page on the front of the website with the new video. So for November, say, we wait till the October minutes came out, and the October minutes, which had previously been on the front page of the website, would go to the bottom of the October minutes, and then we'd update the website with the November. And last month we were slower getting the minutes approved and out, so it was slower for the video to go out. So starting this month, I'm going to be putting the video up as soon as it's posted.
As soon as it's posted.
Yeah.
Meaning, what do you mean by that? Once this video is taken off, it's going right on the website?
Yeah, it should be a few days, a week, something like that. Frank's usually pretty quick
When
putting
the
it
video
up.
will be on the website? We're not waiting a whole 30 days before it's posted?
No.
No. Okay. Another question. On minutes, why is that we don't have the zoning board minutes on the website?
I thought they were posted on the website.
We're supposed to be going on the website.
I'm pretty certain there are
They're actually missing all of them.
all of them.
Yeah,
I
and-
thought I saw September's minutes. Just
Zoning? No, no zoning. We got planning board, we got the fire department, we have this board. What else is up there? The planning, not the zoning. Those minutes, not one.
that's
We'll have to
great.
look into that for some
Yeah.
reason. I thought that was on, it was
No,
going
it was
on,
not
we put it
right.
on there.
I was wondering that, you know, when that page comes up, if that page with the minutes could be some kind of spreadsheet type of format. I kind of made I took a few of the months. It will be like a spreadsheet, so it just comes down.
Oh,
So if there's one missing, you can tell, and let the page kind of scroll down instead of going to page 1, page 2, that's kind of, you
Right.
just scroll all the way down. And then the videos could be put right there under the planning, and when the videos come up, that's where it actually should go, in the minutes, I guess, you know, just kind of.
they do go into the minutes eventually. There's just a lag between when it takes a while for the minutes to come out on the website because we have to approve them as a board.
The video minutes, they have to be approved.
The video doesn't have to be approved, but the minutes do.
Yeah,
So
the minutes.
there's a time when we have the video available, but we don't have the minutes. Once the minutes are available, then the video goes into the minutes and it's at the bottom of the minutes page.
Okay.
And I'll take a look at this. I don't know if our website software will let us do it, but I'll see if there's a
So the
possibility.
spreadsheet would be like, you wind up with that section on the side, a link that really you don't need. This way you have most of the page to put in a nice spreadsheet. You just scroll right down.
I'll take a look at what's possible.
Yeah. Thanks.
Yeah, we'll certainly look into it, thank you. Okay, let's move on to committee reports. Ed? anything?
No reports, but hopefully soon maybe we could write down a list of concerns that we really want to look for money for the grants. I know the ball field, of course, but what other, you know.
Absolutely.
I mean, we talked about it, but I don't, you know, if we had just a compiled list, that I could actually start looking exactly for where we, you know, money for these line items that we could come up with.
Yeah, after the first of the year, things loosen up and are starting to
Yeah,
get active again.
right. So as soon as that happens, then we'll,
That's going to report. Excellent.
Anything new on the person that you had talked to that was gonna come and give us the other side of the fracking story?
no, that was forwarded to Roy Brown. He was gonna, I believe, didn't you give it to Roy?
I did, and he was going to try to set something up, because I told him we really didn't have facilities to house as many people that would collect,
Yeah.
you know, if he could do it up there again, it would be great. He hasn't said anything up as of yet, you know, I don't know who he's contacted or, you know, what response he's waiting for, but as soon as he has something else.
We had the fellow from the water expert, and I forwarded you somebody that was part of a gas alliance
Yes, and I sent
from
that
the Buffalo
email
area.
to him
They
as
would
well.
come talk.
So let's try to set that up into a meeting, so.
I'll see here the other side.
I know he's probably still working on it. Again, you know, this month is, November, December is very difficult to schedule
Right.
anything while everything goes on, so it'll probably be after the first of the year at this point, I would think, obviously. Okay. Thank you, Ed. Bob, you have,
As a reminder to the board members that we're doing interviews for ZBA on Thursday at 6:30 here. And if it's too busy here, we'll move next door.
we'll try it here, let's see if we can have the first one. Okay. Very good. Evan, you have anything on update?
I think there's been some website updates going in on, most recently on the emergency plan page. We added some links to our emergency plan and then to the county websites and FEMA and a couple other places. So if people need that information, it should be more accessible now.
Good. Excellent. All right. Nancy, you have anything on
Just
update?
want to say thank you to Evan for that, because it is much easier to find it and read and all that, and the links are very good. On the emergency plan, I'm starting now the contacting all volunteers. I can't get the final version ready till after the fire company elections, and their meeting is, you said, Mary, the third Monday? So, because we have to make sure those are right. Were there any changes in the county that weren't on the, is there a website correct?
I believe so.
I believe it's
think
correct.
Yeah, they have town
Because
information.
I did
right on
check
top of
that, the
He
names
keeps
and
it
all that,
updated,
and
right?
those are all the same. I found one change we need to make in the plan itself on page 3. We had said originally, and I honestly thought we had changed that, and I didn't apparently. It originally said, once the supervisor declared an emergency. And it actually should read, once the Columbia County Office of Emergency Management has notified the supervisor that an emergency has been, that an emergency exists. So I've changed that one line in here. And so that's the only change in the plan itself that we have to look at. The rest will just be updating the addendum with the volunteer names. As I said, this month I'll be calling all of them, checking to see if they're still volunteering.
Yeah.
Oh, and the only other change I wanted to make was we've had no school volunteer as far as contacting all the schools, and I spoke to Evan on Saturday. And I honestly think, since we don't have a school in the town, we need to maintain an emergency contact, that the information officer could probably be the person to do that, to maintain contact with the schools rather than a separate person.
Yeah,
I think that makes sense.
All
So,
right, well, we'll come around that by and see if, I think that makes sense, that definitely makes sense.
it makes better sense than another, having two different people doing one job.
Right,
So,
right.
I'll get that written into it.
Okay.
And as soon as I can, I will email you all a copy and get a copy for you. Okay?
All right, thank you, Nancy. All right, moving on to old business. A couple things I just want to run over quick. Last month, we brought up the fact that we we did not have a workplace violence prevention program in place, policy in place, and we presented a policy that we took a vote on and passed. We had some hesitation, and obviously 2 board members did not feel that they were in favor of this policy the way it was stated. I did say that I would certainly look into this further, have discussions with our town attorney in regards to possibly rewording this and looking at some of the issues. I did follow up with our attorney on that. He did provide me with an updated policy that I passed out to the board members that changed some of the wording as far as the possession of firearms on property. I sent this out to the board members, and then one of the board members obviously countered it with another policy, possibly changing with some of the legal information as far as possession of illegal firearms. So we have 2 different policies we're still considering as far as updating the one we just adopted last month. I'd like to run this one by the town attorney as well, just to have them look at the wording. And we are going to have a meeting next month, which we do at the beginning of January, to review all of our policies and update policies. And I'd like to have his input before we consider this for any further consideration of changing what we adopted. And then at that point, we can take a look at it and vote on changing the policy in January. So I thank Evan for sending his input on this, and everybody for their input. But I really like to defer this to January, have his input on what you proposed, and then we can consider that. So that's where I'd like to leave that at this point. If there's any other further comment, if you want to have any further comment before that, but I mean, I'd like to wait till January.
I do, I don't want to, I was one of the guys that voted against it, and I don't feel like I was a pain in the neck for it. Maybe I just saw things a little different than you other guys. I think this whole board is a great board. I think it's been an honor to work on this board, and I don't want to feel the board feeling like I was a pain in the neck for, kind of fighting against it. This board gets along real good, and it's pretty much nonpartisan, and I'm very pleased to be on it. But what I want to do is I'd just like to take a minute to state why I felt so strong against this policy. And I wrote something of why I felt so strong about it, because I think we really do need to consider it. I don't think it should be taken very lightly. What I wrote was, workplace violence policy, as it stands, undisputedly violates the Constitution. I, along with the members of this board, have sworn an oath to uphold and defend the Constitution against all enemies, foreign and domestic. This oath is all of our first duty and responsibility to the town, as before our term is to be served, we must swear to it. Sadly, in these times, this oath is sworn on thin air and not on God, as is supposed to be as in times past. My oath is sworn with God as the foundation, an authority above and over and above all. The Nuremberg trials were a testimony of this. I intend to uphold this oath no matter what, even if I'm alone and crucified for it. The Constitution is the foundation of our nation and is what defines this country as unique in this world. Without a solid foundation built upon unchanging solid rock, a house will not stand the test of time. It will wither and collapse as a house foundation built upon sand. I believe that the majority of the citizens don't understand what the Constitution is about. The Constitution defines our Bill of Rights, and those rights don't come from government but God. The essence of the Constitution is to protect our individual rights against being infringed upon, being the first 10 amendments to refrain the power of government and protect our individual sovereignty. The founders made all citizens free, sovereign individuals to do as we please, as long as it does not infringe or jeopardize the rights and freedoms of another individual. The Constitution protects these rights. My issue isn't as much the violation of the Second Amendment, but the violation of the Constitution, whether it be the First, Fourth, Fifth, etc. But this so happens to be the Second Amendment, and to deny a law-abiding citizen their right to carry a legal weapon is to deny their constitutional right. If a weapon is legal and the law permits it to be carried, as the person anywhere in the state, then to limit where it is to be carried is to take the constitutional right away. Are we permitted to do so? God forbid. I say not. In essence, what this policy is saying is double talk, circular reasoning. In order to prevent violence, we must disarm the people. Is that logical? In every civilization that has done so in history, the end result is disasters. Hitler and Stalin in our century did so. Was it good for the people? Good intentions without a vision can end in disastrous results. Where there is no vision, the people perish. Furthermore, what the policy implies is that we do not trust our employees. It assumes they can be violent, so taking away legal weapons prevents them from acting violent. What about a shovel or the town truck or a crowbar? Both of these tools can take a life with one blow. Maybe we should take those away too. This policy is a progressive action that can easily lead into the total destruction of the Second Amendment. First, it limits town employees to carry on town property. That would include town roads. Then maybe in the future another board decides it should extend to all people for the protection on town property. Since the county adopted the same wording, it could be extended to all people on county and town property. That includes all of our roads, or most of our roads. Then finally we get a law enacted that we can only possess a legal weapon on our own property. We must ask ourselves the question, how do we protect ourselves against violent people? By eventually disarming the people? What will happen if the weapon was in the hands of a what happens is the weapons are in the hand of the violent and we become the prey. On the contrary, does making drugs illegal eliminate them from our society? Of course not. Those who want the drugs will get them anyway. Weapons are the same scenario. The violent motive will always be intact on those who choose to be violent. In the words of Ben Franklin, when we give up our liberty in the name of security, we give up both. What if there was just one law-abiding citizen in that movie theater in Colorado when that violent murderer gunned down 16 innocent people? Perhaps there would be only 1 or 2 casualties. The innocent would have been protected. Was the gunner a law-abiding citizen? No. If weapons were illegal, would they have gotten one anyway? Yes. We must not act so impulsively to enact any law or policy that potentially violates the Constitution. We cannot act on our own personal feelings, but on the foundation, the Constitution, whether we like it or not. We cannot do what is right in our own eyes, but what is right in the law, and that's the Constitution. We are a republic, meaning a nation of law, not a democracy, in which is mob rule. As Thomas Jefferson once said, democracy is 2 wolves and a sheep voting what's for dinner. I implore that we carefully examine this policy and implement it in a way that does not infringe in any way upon the Constitution. I would also like to suggest that our county supervisors consider these things and reword the county policy as well. Our nation is on the precipice of falling, and the reason it's falling is the simple fact that we do not obey the Constitution. Let's be an example and obey it. And that's why I take the stand that I do. I took an oath to defend it, and I think it's the essence of our country, and if we chisel it away any more than we have, we're going to completely lose our country. No matter what amendment it is, we got to consider it very carefully, I believe.
Okay, thank you for your comments, Ed. Anybody else have anything on Ed? I would just like to, just on the heels of that, just to mention that we had a write-up from our insurance company that we needed to have this policy in effect. I immediately went to the county, Columbia County, and asked for their policy that they have adopted. I had our county attorney, well, he works at the county, our town attorney, draft this policy. It's a template from the county, and reword it for the town of Clermont. So this is not something we created, it's something that I mirrored off of the county. I did not feel as passionate about Ed's argument as he does, but I certainly understand where he's coming from, and that's why we're looking into this, and we certainly will revisit this when we review our policies in January. Anybody else has anything to add?
Just, I had brought up the point of if you change that policy, does it affect our insurance cost?
Something we can look in between now and January.
Yes.
Yes, I will look into that. We'll find out.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I just want to mention, we had a young individual in here last month, brought it to our attention that there's a vacant property on Firehouse Road where near he lived. Said that he thought it was a health hazard. I actually took and pulled some of the information on this. I have a picture of the house. I went to the property and looked at it. It's a property that maybe is not being occupied at this point, but it is being maintained as far as the taxes are being paid. I don't see anything as far as any reason why it would be a health concern to the town to have it condemned. It is owned by someone out of town, but as far as the taxes being paid, as far up to this year, I don't see anything that the town has to do with this. You know, I don't think we can do anything for this individual. It's not something that we really get involved with. They pay the taxes, not on a foreclosure list. If it was falling down or something, we could have it condemned by the zoning enforcement officer, code enforcement officer, but I can ask John to take a look at it, but as far as I'm concerned, there's not much else we can do with this property. And I will let that individual know. I did stop at his house as well. But I will follow up and let him know what we did look into it for him. Okay.
Excuse me, Ray, can I say something about this? Because I saw that in the video. Can I say something about the young man?
If you want to just step up real quick, I'll allow it, sure.
Because I heard David, what's his name, or Dave, say something about this house.
Mm-hmm.
And it's in my neighborhood.
Yeah.
And I was just want to let him know that that's not the only one. Because if he comes south, actually the property next to mine, on one side is empty, on the other side is empty, on the other side of that one is empty, and across the street is empty. So there's a lot of properties empty. There must be a reason. The economy, maybe the dump. It could be something. So I just want to let Dave know that, because he was here last month.
I'll let him know when I talk to him. Thank you for telling him. And there's more around the town. I mean, it's just not, I mean, every town has vacant properties, but yeah, I'll let him know. Okay, new business. First thing I want to address is we have to set a date for our year-end meeting, just so we can balance the accounts and finalize all the year's business. I'd like to do it in the end of December. The 27th is an evening, Thursday evening. If we can make it 7 o'clock on the 27th, that will work for everybody. I think that's the best time, Thursday, December 27th. And we'll till 7 p.m. Mary has hours here at night, so she'll be here anyway. Is that okay?
I will.
You will?
I will,
Okay.
but is that the, no, both judges?
No, that's the 49th, now they're going 30.
All right.
So we're good. Okay. Budget transfer. If you looked at the report I provided, we have a couple accounts that we need to move money around just to balance some year-end numbers. Two of the numbers, we're making a transfer in lieu of the abstract, and the other one is one that's been running in negative because of reimbursements that weren't coded into that, well, the actual expenditure code, but we have reimbursements for the playgrounds. So I have three budget transfers on one list. Resolution number 44-12, whereas necessary to make budgetary transfers to balance certain accounts in general fund, be it resolved, supervisor being hereby is authorized to make the following budgetary transfer into general fund accounts. Decrease appropriations A 1420.4, attorney, $981. Increase appropriations for A 7110.42, brownfields, $981. We have $6,000 budget for brownfields, and the final work that was done by CT Mail brought it up to $69.81. This is 90% reimbursable, but we have to pay it and we get reimbursed.
Right.
So we're short $981, we're just putting money into that account. The next one, decrease appropriations A 1420.4, attorney, $2,631. Increase appropriations A 9010.8, retirement, $2,631. This year the retirement jumped up again more than we predicted. We were short $2,631. I'm drawing a lot of this out of the attorney line because we had basically nothing spent out of the attorney line this year. We had excess funds. We're using money within the budget to balance these out. And the last one is decrease appropriations A 1440.4, engineer, $1,877. And increase appropriations A 7110.41, parks, $1,877. And again, that's money we got reimbursed, but didn't, we have to pay for it out of the expenditure code. That's it. Motion to make those transfers.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. I want to bring up the data collection, 2013. We, as we mentioned before, I think we all realize that 2013 is the year that we have to do a full-scale data collection again. It is necessary to keep the properties at 100%. Every 4 years, we have to do a data collection, update the cards, take new pictures, visit every property. This has to be done this coming year. We do have an individual interested in this job. It is the person that took care of this last time for us, which would be a huge asset, which would help us tremendously as far as finding somebody, having them trained, figuring out where all the properties are, going around to the properties. This individual obviously knows all this information already, but what I'd like to do is set up a date and a time where us as a board can bring this person in, interview them, let them know, go over the procedure, let them know that we, what we want done differently, because obviously we'd like to fine tune what they did last time a little bit better, maybe increase a few things, what we'd like done, maybe some additional pictures, more documentation, just so we know that the data collection is done possibly a little more thoroughly or more fine-tuned what we want. Last time, I know we had a short time span where we had to get this done. This time we have, next year to work it out. So we have a lot of time to actually have this individual do this. I think it'll be much better this year coming up. But I'd like to have, a date that we can pick to have her come in, talk to her, and like I said, fine-tune what we want her to do and figure out and negotiate a price. We already budgeted some money for this. This should cover it, but we still have to work out the details. So I'd like to, I don't know if we wanted to pick a time, like maybe when we're doing the policy reviews in January, maybe have this individual come in, before or after, and go through some of this information. This is something that I don't know if it would benefit us to try to put this out to bid to find somebody, because it's specifically more benefit for us to have the individual that did this already. I mean, I don't know how anybody could come in and do the job that she'd be able to do, knowing what she knows.
We're not required to put it out to bid
Well,
based on the amount of money?
It depends on the negotiated price. I mean, we should have 2 quotes by our policy.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to be RFP'd. So if we get a written quote, but I'm not sure how to even go about it. And what I'll do is I'll check with the county clerk,
Yeah.
the town attorney, on how we should do this and proceed. But I do think we're gonna have to get a written quote from somebody else. But again, I don't see how it could compare or benefit to how this person that already did all this work. So what I'll do is I'll find that out, but I still think we need to interview at least this person and maybe set this up for the same date as January. I think it makes sense.
Could we pick 2 possible dates in case you can't make one, the year-end meeting or the policies meeting?
We can if we'd like to do that.
And then see, whichever one she's gonna be available, or he, she, I guess.
She did it before, yes, that was.
And that gives you enough time
Sure.
to check with the attorney and see if we really need to.
Absolutely.
open
But
this
either
up.
way, we could still interview her, and then if we.
Right, we can go ahead and do the interview.
Yep. We'll do that, yeah, I can do that. And we'll have to pick a date. I mean, if we want to pick a date for reviewing the policies now, I mean, that way I can give her that date. That would be in January. It has to be done before the 20th. We usually do that on a Saturday. Let me see what the schedule looks like here.
There's 12, right?
So it'd either be the 12th or the 19th. We can do either one. The 19th is fine with me. I mean, does anybody have any preference, 12th or 19th?
Unless you want to do it a week earlier, in case something happens and it has to be changed. I mean,
Yeah, that might be worth it.
Mhm.
Okay.
If something happens on the 19th, then you're,
Yeah, you're on the wire.
Yeah, it could be a blizzard, you don't know.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, that's true. You could end up with bad weather. And
Okay, let's do January 12th. We usually make it like 10 a.m., just to give us time to go through everything. We have to get everybody in here, the judges, everybody in to review the books. Let's make it for 10 a.m., the 12th, and maybe I can have her either come in at 9:30 or noon time or something, and make sure we have time to look and talk to her.
What time is it gonna be at?
10 a.m.,
10.
and then I'll let you know if she wants to come in, we can do it before or after. Okay.
yeah, we'll actually have another meeting before that.
Right.
The regular meeting on the 7th.
Yeah, we'll have the organizational meeting.
Yeah.
Okay, but that way I can give her a date. All right. Very good. Supervisor report. Where do I start?
Before you, did you want to say anything about the, we have any new information on our estimates for the audit?
We're still waiting. I have, we just received, as a matter of fact, today came in one from one of the firms. Still waiting for another one. And I did put out the word for the bookkeeping services to 2 firms as well. and I'm still waiting, we haven't received those yet, but I figured we'd have those for the year-end meeting. We'll go over all of them at the year-end meeting. We wouldn't be making any decisions until January. If we were making any switches, the big point was there, and then change early in the year if we had to, but year-end meeting will review all the bids, so once you get them all in. And the insurance one will be in by then as well, because we also have the insurance bid coming in. So we should have, and what I also want to do is, I still haven't done it yet, but I still want to get the attorney and the engineer as well. I bid that to some of the local firms that have been dealing with other towns, just to, verify the prices we're paying. Just as per, verification. But yeah, the year-end meeting will be probably a little bit more than usual, because we're going to review those, and I think Finger usually would like to come in and present his policy, and we'll look at the other presentation as well, probably, so I'll let you know on that. But we should have a lot of information to go over, actually, for that.
Can you just clarify what's happening on January 12th?
January 12th is when we review all of our books and policies. We review the books, we review the judges, the clerk, we review all of our policies, update our policies, and we're going to potentially interview with the data collection individual. One of, or at least interview one. Okay. Supervisor report. Let's see, I don't have a whole lot to report on. This month has been kind of busy in the county, actually. We've had a lot of talks on the courthouse project, which is underway, but nothing really to update. We did find a temporary home for the courts while the renovations are taking place, which has been, I feel is very important, because obviously it was going to be a challenge to keep court in session while you're doing a $9 million project renovation on the courthouse. So it wasn't ideal, but it was a solution that we felt was acceptable. The Clermont School is where they decided, and the courts accepted as their temporary location to move into for the next year to 18 months. So that's obviously going to help the courthouse project move along quicker and hopefully eliminate cost overruns, is the hope. So that's about all I have to say on that. Pine Haven is still underway. We're still researching, moving forward with that project. Now it's RFPing architect firms for the design services for that building. This will give us an idea of what it will cost to have the actual project done and completed. We have the preliminary specs and drawings and the design, but not the actual drawings. This is going out to an architectural firm to give us the actual cost of the project. Still reimbursable. This is still part of the reimbursable amount. Even if they come back and it's an amount that we can't proceed with, it is reimbursable. But we do feel that the preliminary design service specs is in line with what we were thinking. It is going to be close to a $34 million project. We do have a $32 million plus cap from what is reimbursable. So the object is to get the project down to where the cap will cover, so there is no additional cost to the county. That other money is reimbursable. So it's important that we take a good look at the design services and the actual specs that come in. So, but that project is proceeding along. Let's see what else is going on. DSS, there's not a lot to update on there. We're looking at possible renovations to that building to bring that up to speed a little bit more. The budget is probably the biggest thing that everybody's looking at this point. We spent a lot of time this past month on the county budget. The process this year has been difficult for me to understand as far as why it was changed from the previous years. I was very comfortable with the previous years. This year has been a little more difficult to understand the way it's been done. I am not convinced that this budget, I'm not comfortable with this budget as of yet. There's still a lot of numbers, a lot of figures that have not been provided as far as actual cash balance that's in the bank. It's been asked for several months. I have not seen it yet. The fund balance numbers are key to, obviously making a budget. I still need more information for me to be comfortable with this budget process. Right now, I think the paper had out that it was projected at 0% or a 0.3% decrease in the county tax levy. That, to me, I'm all for no tax raise or decrease in taxes, but to achieve that this year, the projection on sales tax revenue for the county was raised $3 million. I don't particularly have a problem with raising the projection because that's about where it is. I mean, it was severely under budget the past few years, and I've said that before. So bringing that up $3 million is right in line with where the revenue actually is. So as long as the economy continues the way it is, that would be fine. But in addition to that, they're projecting taking another $1 million out of fund balance on top of the $1.8 million that they're already planning on taking out. So now you're taking $2.8 million out of your fund balance. To me, I'm not comfortable with that. I mean, you're taking almost a third of your fund balance out in 1 year to balance the budget instead of making the cuts necessary to offset the spending. And to me, it just does not make sense. It does not sit well with me. I have not been convinced that that is a smart financial move. And unless I'm convinced, I'll probably certainly not be in favor of this budget the way it's presented. So we're still working out the details. Some of the financial numbers will be given to us next week, I believe. We'll probably have a special meeting after to discuss the budget further. But we have until the 20th of December to adopt the budget. And I believe it'll be close to that before we actually figure out what we're going to do. But again, I'll let everybody know. Probably read the paper before I let you know, but it'll certainly be coming out. What else is going on up there? I don't really have a whole lot more to update on. Close to home here, just want to make sure everybody realizes December 16th, I think it's 6 p.m. That's what I was trying to see the time. Santa Claus will be next door. Is that 6 p.m.?
Yes.
6 p.m. Well, next door at the community house. It's a Sunday, 6 p.m. They'll have Christmas caroling. They'll have snacks and presents for the kids, and I think Santa will be making. I know Santa will be making a visit next door. So anybody that can make it over, they can get here, and they're welcome. What else do we have? I want to thank the highway guys again for the decorations. They took care of putting our lights up, although I do have to ask them the color coding on this one light on the corner. I don't know if anybody else noticed. This white goes around the edge, but there's a blue one in the middle of all the white ones. I'm going to ask them who did that. They did it obviously they did it in the daytime. But thank them for putting up our decorations like usual. They took care of that. I think I'm forgetting something, but that should be it.
December 15th, the fire department has...
That's what it was. December 15th, Saturday night, Clermont Firehouse over on 9G actually puts on a Christmas party as well. I know Santa makes his visit there and then comes over here the next day, but he's over there, delivers presents and snacks for the kids over there. So that is, thank you. I knew it was something else, the 15th, Saturday night.
Speaking of events, I wanted to say thank you especially to John Halterman. Because election day, we were getting the dinner ready and we started to get very cold and the furnace wouldn't come on. And I called everybody I could think of, trying to get somebody to even tell me where the furnace was in that building. And now I know because John dropped everything and came right over, and we had a broken part. I forget what the part is, but there was something broken on the furnace, and he came. He was here within a half an hour and fixed it for us. So we were able to serve dinner, and we would not have been able to. It was that cold.
We certainly thank him. That's John Halterman, K&H Fuel Oil. There is something we said for dealing with local companies, and we thank him for his efforts in helping us out.
On a Saturday afternoon when he was out in the field doing something and his wife had to go get him.
Absolutely. And that reminds me, I knew there was something else. Now that you brought that up. Transportation contract in the county. That's something that's been publicized in the paper a little bit lately. There's been a huge issue over the bus transportation contract in the county. It's been in the paper 2 or 3 times now. We have a bus service that runs 2 runs to Albany and a couple local bus routes throughout the county that the past couple of years has been administered by Coxsackie Transport. We put it out to bid, and we had 3 new bidders come in. I forget the third company because it was disqualified right away, but then there was Johnson Poulter was the other company, and Coxsackie bid on it again. Johnson Poulter, I don't know if anybody knows, is a local busing company that's around, and their price came in approximately $23,000 cheaper than the one we're currently dealing with. So I don't know how this became such a big hot topic issue, but you know, I've been directly involved with this. To me, you know, we had an RFP go out for bids. We had the bids come in. Coxsackie Transport had a little more information on their application. Made them score higher on preliminary scoring, but you know, as looking at it, we said, well, this guy's got a lower price, so let's bring them both in, get more information, talk to them, which you're allowed to do. We brought both companies in, we had interviews, I was on a subcommittee, we interviewed both of them, we went through all the information. By the time it was all said and done, they were apples to apples, but yet the company was $23,000 cheaper. And so the subcommittee says, well, we need to change over to the guy that's cheaper. You know, we can't disqualify his bid. You know, we think he'll do a sufficient job. So now this has turned into this huge issue that at the next board meeting, the full board meeting, we're going to have a presentation by both of these companies to the full board. But to me, I mean, this is part of the problem here. You have a committee that finds no reason to disqualify the lowest bidder. You have a local guy, first of all, bidding, saving the county $23,000, and yet it's become a huge issue where we're trying to not give it to them. And I don't understand. You bid something out, you get a lower price, you say they're qualified to do it, and yet the full board wants to take a look at both of them. This has happened time and time again on things in the county, and it drives me crazy that you take and disqualify a local bidder and go with somebody else. So it's going to be interesting to see how it turns out. I think we're going to award it to the lowest bidder, which is the local guy, which I would certainly support, and I have supported. But the fact that this has even went this far is crazy, and I don't understand some of the issues that some of the supervisors are having with this. But I just wanted to throw it out there because
Don't call favors.
it's crazy. It's crazy. What do you got?
To 23,000, that's a pretty sized number.
That's big.
Was it clear how he was able to do that?
Well, it's priced by mile, so he priced it cheaper by mile. I mean, they charge by mile. The county actually owns its buses, so all we're doing is hiring a company to administer and provide drivers and handle all the, you know, the day-to-day operation. So it's just a price per mile.
What is the difference in the rates? Do you know off the top of your head?
Oh, you know, I don't have it in
Because the
front of
going
me.
IRS rate is 55 cents a mile. for
Well, no,
driving a
I mean,
vehicle,
their
so
rate,
they're different.
providing
That's
a
not-
driver and everything
providing
else.
a driver,
So
the
I think it
whole
was
thing,
$1.89 per mile to $2.09 a mile, something like that, you know,
Mhm.
something like that neighborhood. But
So it could be their salary levels are lower or.
overhead costs, through
overhead
operation costs,
costs.
profit, you know, you name it. But the county provides the
They're
fuel.
not cutting the routes at all.
They're not cutting around, identical services,
Mhm.
our buses, you know, just a different driver, gonna, you know, handle the same pickups, do exactly the same thing.
Mhm.
So to me, like I said, it was apples to apples. You save $23,000. It is a $400,000 contract. It's a large number contract, but $23,000 is $23,000. You know, if it was $200, I'd say, okay, maybe let's look at this. But you know, it's a significant savings. So to me, it's a no-brainer.
Was there any issue in terms of the quality of the driver? Or
Was
nothing
he-
you could tell?
It wasn't even a concern at that point.
Okay.
No, I mean, you know, we're going to have a full board discussion on this and a presentation by both these companies again. But you know, it's something that, you know, the public should really keep an eye on because, you know, here you are, you know, you got a group of supervisors really fighting to save every dollar possible, you know, and you got a company that qualifies that you say can do it. I don't know how anybody would vote against it myself. You know, how do you vote against a local guy that can provide the same service for less money? I just don't see it. So that'll be interesting to see how it turns out. Thanks for reminding me about that. I almost forgot about bringing that up. All right.
But you're right, I saw it in the paper before you said anything.
Well, that's been in the paper. It'll be in the paper again this year. So, all right. That's all I have to say. I think I've said enough. I'll go ahead and motion to pay abstracts.
Let's start them.
Motion to pay general abstract number 12, claims 296 through 323, for a total of $26,168
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
And, motion to pay highway abstract number 12, claims number 114 through 124, in a total of $17,248.25.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Thank you.
I'm sorry, did Nancy second that?
The second one, no, Bob did.
Okay, move on to public communications. Comments to the board. Anybody have any comments? Mr. Quintero, Mr. Hill, please.
Where's Charlie?
Okay. It's gonna be tough here. Just give me a second. And I lived in 9G, right from Carroll. And I've been coming because of the ammonia dump. And I'm just gonna give a little history about the dump. I don't know if the town ever received this study done by this engineering company to the DEC back in the 90s, telling us actually how big this dump is and what's in it and what's really there. But what they're telling us, and I read, because when we talk about jurisdiction-wise, I want to know there's 3 properties involved in this thing. And it said that Lemoyne Dump, actually, he only owned the 3 acres back then. Because there's 3 properties involved in this. And it says here, the landfill is located on 9G in the town of Clermont. The landfill consists of approximately 10.2 acres of fill situated on 3 continuous parcels. The fill areas encompass the entire 3-acre parcel of one property, that's the 3-acre that Carl had. It's slightly greater than half of 5.7, that's the one in the north, which now he bought that during the dumping. He owns that too. And approximately 4 acres on a 47-acre in the back. So we have 10 acres of this that happened back then. But it looks like the DEC is just taking responsibility on 3 acres. They gave permission to Carl to do the C&D construction demolition debris on the 3 acres. It went out of hand. They tried to stop them. When the dust settled, this is what we got. We got 10 acres. So I was wondering, who has jurisdiction on the 4 acres on the 47, and actually more than half on the 5.7? If the DEC only has jurisdiction on the 3. Does the town has jurisdiction on that? Because this is in violation. With this report, we haven't had anything else since telling us anything different.
Well, I'd have to look at that because, you know, as far as the DEC goes, they take jurisdiction on the actual dumping area.
That's the 3 acre, right?
Yeah, I don't know.
Correct.
Document, you know, that one, I'm not familiar with that.
That's all they're taking is responsibility for the 3, but there is actually 7 more out there. One to 47 acre and more than half on a 5.7.
They actually had jurisdiction over the parcel to the north also, they cleared it, right? You had a letter on
No,
that.
that was probably with the latest fill, which we'll talk about that later, with the latest fill. We're talking about the original.
What was the date on that, 1990s?
This, I believe, is 91. I'm missing the last digit. I believe this was done in 91. It is the only one we have. We haven't done anything else to tell us any different of what's there and how big it is. This is what we've had. So I was wondering, those properties are, the other 2 properties are in violation also, including the 3 acre. All 3 of them are in violation. And the question comes about it's all about a line change. Got to do with a line change where I was not notified, and we're supposed to. I believe that board said they don't have to. Our town lawyer said that they do have to. I have no idea what's going on, but I was not notified on that line change that was given out. Now that parcel became 3, the 5.7, and looks like most of this got swept away to the 3. I don't even know the DEC knows that they have now 6 instead of 3 from the latest letter we got from the DEC saying that they have jurisdiction on the 3. It's not 3 anymore. That lot became 6 now with this latest line change.
I'd have to follow up and find out.
Please do,
I
right.
have a copy of that information, Mary.
I will give you this, and actually, you should get 2 more of these because we should put them in the folder of those properties. When the special permits are given out, this should be in there. This is telling us where the stuff is at.
You'd have to have the engineers trace back through the whole process from then forward
Yeah, I'll have to have research.
to see what other things were done in the meantime over the years, because
Well, we haven't done actually anything except we sent our town engineer to dig some holes in a 3-acre parcel, which we do not have any jurisdiction. He went in there and he dug it up. What did he find? I have no idea what he found. He reviewed his own findings. Can you like that? And he did that, and he said, because they want to put a building on the other property. He would dig in here to put a building on the other property. Doesn't make sense.
What the engineer found is that where they dug, there was no debris at that time.
Our engineer, our town engineer.
Yeah, and our planning board was there also, right? I mean, Larry Hallpaugh was there when they did it.
Mr. President, if you read the minutes, we sent our town engineer to dig on a 3-acre parcel, which we have no jurisdiction, to put up a building on a 5.7 on the next lot. Read the minutes. And
I
then,
think you're confusing the 2 3-acre parcels, though, not the original 3 acres. What Mr. Cole subdivided, like you say, boundary line change, where he subdivided the 5-acre parcel that's to the north, he added to the 3-acre original parcel. That's where they wanted more of a setback, if you will, for any seepage from the original 3-acre parcel. I believe that was to keep a boundary, a larger boundary line between where he wanted to put the storage units and keep it away from the original landfill. So you might be, in the minutes, it might not be clear, but it might be saying 3 acres, meaning where the 3 is to the north that he wanted to put the storage.
well, the line
He
wasn't
hasn't
given
done
out
that
yet.
yet. He
The
hasn't
line,
done that.
I know that the lots have changed now. They're different. I'm talking about before the line change. But that, you know, it
It didn't change until Mr. Cole subdivided it.
yeah, he didn't subdivide, he just had a line change.
Well, line change. He
Right,
added-
that's what he did.
Right, but
So he made the 3 parcels 6, you know, roughly, and he made the other one 3. And I hope the DEC knows that now they have 6. They don't have 3 now they have 6 to deal with, which is kind of good, kind of compacting what the dump really is. Because what's strange is like they only want to cap the 3 acres. Again, it just doesn't make sense. The leachate ponds, the stuff that is seeping out of this dump, is actually seeping out of the 47 acre and it's seeping out of the 5.7 acre. It's not even seeping out of the 3 acre. They want to cap the 3 but leave the rest open. I have no idea how they're going to do that. So I hope we have jurisdiction over the other 2 which are in violation. And that's when the line change is coming about. And now we want to put a building there. And not notifying people about line changes is, what a procedure. It doesn't really make sense whatsoever. I mean, the applicant there's an application. You got to fill it out. It's got to be all filled up before you even have a hearing. How can you have a hearing when the application is not filled out right?
Well, I'll certainly, I'll look into this and see what I can find out about it. If Mary, you say you have a copy of this report. If not, if you have another copy of that, or we can make a copy. I'm
You
sure
should make
we
a
have
copy. This is mine, right?
I'm sure we have a copy on file.
We probably do.
Okay.
But that is one. The jurisdiction about the other 2, I want to know if we have anything, because they are in violation, those 2 properties. So giving out permits on violation, you're not supposed to give out special permits on any property that has a violation. On the line change, notifying people, I hear like problem reading maps, there's all sorts of things. I really don't get it. But I went through this line change actually, and it looks like 5 people were notified out of 13. 5 people. Out of those 5, actually one of them signed the register mail. Just one out of the 5. And I'm just going to keep on going out of those 5 that were notified.
Mr. Quintero, you're talking about something that happened 10 years ago, 15 years ago, 20 years ago.
This, we're talking about, this is the line change, right?
Oh, the line change.
When
Right
did
now,
this-
we're talking about the line change. It just happened recently.
Oh, okay, all right, I'm sorry.
Well, you can
Yeah.
check into that and see
Yeah, I can
what
find out why that
notifications
wasn't
were
done,
mailed
because we set
out.
up a new system to figure out.
Right.
They follow the same thing with line change they do for subdivision, right? Yeah, so I
So
mean,
they'll
they
have
should
a
have
record
the
of
list
how many
of,
were sent.
they should have the list of who's the neighboring properties that they can send out all the information to.
Well, who does that, Ray? I don't understand that. If the planning board does this, the zoning board,
The applicant.
the applicant's supposed to do that.
They
But
bring
then
it
who
to-
checks on
They
these
bring it
things?
to the planning board verifies that it's going out to the right.
But who's checking on the application when it comes back? I mean, first, the application is filled out and then you have a hearing. That means the application should be up to par before the hearing. And when the hearing comes about, someone's got to check to make sure that actually those properties on the application has been notified. Simple as that.
The only thing that's required by state law is that there's a legal notice put in the paper.
Mr.
We
Besney,
go over and above on our planning board and our zoning board and require the applicant to notify the adjoining property owners within 500 feet. And we've also put in some additional safeguards to try and ensure that nobody gets missed. That's why we got all these maps over in the corner here that we had the engineer do. And it's been working out very well. The zoning board, I mean, I attend every zoning board and planning board meeting myself. I'm not on those boards anymore, but I sit over on the side and I see what goes on.
okay.
And they are checking, they're using the maps, they're getting the numbers, and in fact, the assessor helps them to find the addresses. That's another thing that's started in recently. And so we've improved it since the time that you came in here a couple of years ago, I think it was almost, right? Time goes by. But when you were complaining that you didn't think you had gotten notified on a previous one. Now, I also know that Charlie said he went back and found out that there was a notification sent to you. Now, whether you didn't pick it up at the post office or how it missed, but it was sent to the property owner.
Mr. Desmond, you're confusing two things, because there was a subdivision at the horse farm, and that's the one where I got something, but actually, I did get something, but not actually for the subdivision, or the variance that was given out. So let's not jump the fence, because I want to come back and stay on this, the line change. I want to stay on the line change, because what happened with that line change, not only that only 5 got notified out of 13, but out of those 5, actually just 1 did the correct way. Because if I read here, those certifications that were sent out to the wrong name and the wrong address. Just want to let you know. And people have been complaining about not being notified. And actually, Andy Howard, our attorney, I believe he said that they're supposed to. There's a statute out there. The zoning board is supposed to notify us, property owners.
There's nowhere in our zoning law or in state law that says they have to be notified. We have done that. Both boards do it. It's in the application that they have to notify, and they get notified. Okay, but we could dispense with that tomorrow or tonight.
Somewhere I read or I heard Mr. Howard saying that it's a statute. They're supposed to. Yeah, and we got to check on the addresses. We can't just send these things to, there's a deed with a name, the property owner, the taxpayer, he has an address.
The addresses come out of the tax rolls.
Correct.
Okay?
He
And
didn't.
Okay.
That's what I'm trying to tell you. I could read, I don't want to read people's name, but the addresses on those do not match the tax roll.
Is there
So
any way
I-
you could give me that list of addresses so I could look into
I
this
have it
further?
over here, Ray.
Okay,
Yes.
maybe
So
I'll make a copy.
So actually out of the 5, actually 1, and that's the only one that actually signed it. We got the little thing from the post office back, that he actually signed for that. That was it on that one. So I can see why people are getting mad. And I hear another one is about courtesy call. A courtesy call is when you actually get everybody there for this property that is very close. You can't make a call, it's not perfect. Because the only way it's perfect by a survey. You include him as a courtesy call. So you include that person in. But you gotta include these people in, property owners of all these changes and special permits that are given out. I think I'll stop there now.
I'd like to make a copy of that information.
I will, Ray, I have it all here
I
for you.
can make a copy before you leave, if you don't mind. I can look into it further for you.
Yes,
All right?
thank you.
Thank you. Okay.
Everyone, and I have one copy of that. I'd like to touch, well, I'd like to talk about this, the new thing with the,
Excuse me, could you just state your name for the clerk?
I'm sorry, it's Raymond Keeler. I live down on County Route 6. I just became aware of, you know, what might be a restriction on someone that has a carry permit. And I hear it's due to insurance reasons. I know as elected officials, you're taking oath to defend the Constitution, and the Second Amendment does say we have a right to bear arms. And that doesn't mean that you should let your public or your private, what you think about should be done or shouldn't be done, let that get in the way of what the Constitution states. And I think, you know, if you're letting an insurance company tell you what you can and can't do, what if your insurance company came to you and said, well, you have a gun in your house, so I'm sorry, we're going to have to drop your insurance. What would you do then? Would you stand up for your Second Amendment right, or would you give your guns away just so you could keep your insurance? Is it enough to give up our Second Amendment rights just because insurance costs would go up?
Can I interrupt just for 1 second? It was not, there's no decision been made because of insurance. I asked the question, if we approve this,
Okay.
would it change?
Okay.
Nobody has said anything to an insurance agent
Okay.
yet. That's just a question I asked,
Okay.
okay?
Okay.
That is not a basis for any decision,
Okay.
okay?
But it's still, you've taken an oath to defend the Constitution, correct? Which requires your right to bear arms. Now the problem is, the state, the federal government, and now the UN is trying to restrict those rights where you can and cannot carry. And you know, we're constantly as citizens trying to fight for our rights and our freedoms that the Constitution gives us, but our own elected officials are taking away from us. This thing I gave you is about gun-free zones. All you hear about is these mass murders and shootings. And where do they happen? Most of them happen in gun-free zones. If you read this, the Colorado shooting was in a gun-free zone. You know, if you read through this, if I could just take a minute, Colorado is concealed carry state. As noted, film critic points out, but so was Virginia when a college campus was racked by violence. Like the school, the theater chain was also gun-free. December 7th, 2 church members were shot to death and 3 others injured after gunmen opened fire outside the New Life Church in Colorado Springs. The Sunday services were wrapped up. That tragedy would have been much worse, but the gunman was shot by a church security officer and was found dead when police arrived at the scene. On April 22nd this year, a just-released felon went to the New Destiny Church in Aurora, Colorado, and killed the mother of pastor, Delano Strahan, before being killed himself by a congregant carrying a gun. Unlike the tragedies of Columbine High School and the movie theaters in Aurora, there was someone at these venues willing to be able to shoot back. Other than the shooter, there was nobody armed in the Century 16 theater complex, where 12 were killed and another 59 wounded, unable to exercise the right of self-defense. Colorado is concealed carry state, as was Virginia at the time of the Virginia Tech shootings. But like Virginia Tech, according to World Daily Net, the Century 16 Theater's parent, Cinemark Holdings, has a strict gun-free policy. The similarities between Aurora and Virginia Tech massacre are eerie and maddening. In 2006, Virginia Tech student disciplined for carrying a gun on campus despite having a permit. Schools officials were quick to note that this was a gun-free zone. On April 16th of that year, of 2007, the following year, there was no one able to shoot back when Sung Wee Cho shot 32 people dead on a Virginia Tech campus. Had one or two of the students or teachers been armed, it could have been stopped. Few Americans are aware that in October 1997 shooting, a spree at Pearl, Mississippi High School, that left two students dead. Assistant Principal Joe Myrick retrieved a gun from his car and immobilized the school teacher until police arrived, preventing further killings. There was another school shooting in January 2002 at the Appalachian School of Law in Virginia, where a disgruntled former student killed the dean, associate professor Thomas Blackwell, and a student. Two of the three Virginia law students overpowered the gunman and were armed, preventing further deaths. And in February 2007, in Salt Lake City Mall, armed off-duty officer Farhaman killed a young Muslim after he had killed 5 people, preventing even larger massacres. You know, by taking the guns out of the hands of law-abiding citizens, it doesn't prevent crime, doesn't prevent murder. It protects the citizens. In this room, if you put up a gun-free zone sign outside, what do you think is going to happen? The only person that will walk in this room is going to have, that has a gun, is going to mean harm to everybody in this room. So I would feel better sitting in this room if each and every one of you had a gun strapped to your side. And I think you would too. And I was in Connecticut visiting a friend, and in the park, somebody had pulled a knife on somebody else, and that person pulled out his gun and shot him. Had he not been able to carry that, that person would have been dead. And they're trying to restrict guns in parks, private theaters, etc. You should be able to carry them in your park nearby. In a case like that, it saved the person's life. And I haven't heard of another knife stabbing in that park since then. So I just want to bring that to the board's attention and just remind you, as Ed said, you know, you can't give up your freedoms for the sake of security. So thank you for your time.
Have you taken this message to the county also? Because they won't let you carry a gun into the courtroom.
No, I haven't, but
You think you should be able to carry a gun in the courtroom and not have the...
That's a different thing.
well, there's also a court officer there with a gun, correct?
That's correct.
Okay. So at least there's somebody there to protect you, protect the citizens. But when they start passing laws that nobody can have a gun anywhere, or nobody, you know, whether it's a public park, I mean, is it going to be the ball field? Can you have a gun there? You know? I mean, if you're licensed, if they feel that you're safe enough to give a license to carry a gun, why should you be restricted where you carry it? That's all I have to say.
I'd like to thank you for your comment. This is obviously why we're considering this policy and adjusting this policy, and that's why we have a couple different versions, and we're going to look at this again when we update our policies. because we've had this conversation, and, you know, we are sympathetic to, obviously, the second.
I didn't mean to interrupt you either. I
No,
just
that's
wanted to make
okay.
sure you
No,
knew
that's
that there
quite
was
all
no policy made or decision made based on insurance. That was just a question.
Okay, well, thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Excuse me, Ray, is that policy have to do with workers? Is that the
Yes.
whole bottom line?
Yes.
Of employees on a
Employee
part-time?
workers, yes.
Well, as it was first written, the first draft, I think neither of the drafts that we're looking at now, but the first one applied to anybody on town land.
Oh, I see that, I see. Okay. All right,
Thank
sorry.
you. Mr. Davis.
I just, since this debate came up, we're not going to resolve the debate. This is a national debate. However, I would like to put on record that what the Second Amendment says is open to interpretation. It is not an obvious interpretation. There's a disagreement on what that Second Amendment says and means, and that's a national debate too. But one can uphold the Constitution and still vote for restricting gun use.
Thank you. Okay. All right, round two.
Guns, right?
Round two.
We're into the guns. I believe the permit given to you as a gun owner is for self-defense, so don't forget that. The gun you have on you, if you carry a gun legally, is for self-defense. If something happens and you wind up shooting someone, you might call you a hero, but criminally you could be charged. Because the gun is just for self-defense, yourself, your family, your property. That's all I have to say.
All right, thank you. There's no doubt that this is a national issue that's been discussed and talked about in several different versions and different ways. And we're certainly putting some serious thought into this. And again, I can't say anything more than, you know, we've taken a template from the county, Columbia County's policy. We're looking to tweak it with the wording that we feel comfortable as a board. And we'll certainly review this again and make a final decision in January when we review the policies. But you know, we're certainly putting the time and thought into this to do it correctly. So, that being said, I don't know if anybody else has anything further. If not, I'll make a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Oh, before we do, I just want to wish everybody a happy holidays, because we will not have another meeting before then. So happy and safe holiday for everyone.
Oh, thanks.
And thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.